This situation happens to so many more people than you can realize. I am thrilled that you shared this, and I hate that it happened to you, but I'm going to give you a framework of how to answer that question. Why were you let go from your last job? First, let's talk about why this happens so frequently, though, because I want you to feel better about yourself. And anybody else that's been through this, I want you to feel better right now. See, a lot of companies, when they go out and they hire for the first time for a job, they don't have a true understanding of all the things that are required to do that job correctly. So they get into the interview with you and they only talk about the things that are top of their mind. Then you get into the job and they start telling you all the other things you need to be able to do, and you can't handle it, right? It's not possible, and so it doesn't work out, and you either quit or you get fired. You know what happens then? They learn from the lesson, so now they go hire the next person, but this time around they tell somebody all of the expectations so that they hire the person that can actually do the job. So unfortunately, you suffer for them to benefit and get the right person later on. It's flawed. I know it's not fair, but when this has happened to you, there is a lesson that you can learn. And we call that the moment of accountability, the MOA. And you need this MOA. It's not you saying you've done anything wrong. Let me be clear, because you didn't. But it is you being able to look back on something that's happened to you that's so powerful and learn from it and say, here's where I would do it differently next time around. Here's how I would make sure that it doesn't happen again. That's the moment of accountability. And that's what every hiring manager and recruiter wants to hear. So here's the beautiful part. The best way to do this is in a storytelling format. And I teach everyone at Work It Daily how to structure their story correctly using something called the experience plus learn equals grow model. And the reason this works so well is because it structures it with a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is going to make you look very concise. It's also going to let you talk more authentically, and that's going to give you more credibility. So once you've got this mapped out, you're now able to talk about this and add in that moment of accountability. Now, an example of this would sound something like this. I'm really glad you asked. It was very hard to be let go from a job, and I'm happy to share what happened. In the interview, they told me the expectations for the job, and it all sounded great. But when I started the job, within a week or two, they started adding in all these additional expectations that were never discussed in the job interview process. It became clear to me that it was going to be extremely difficult to live up to these expectations, but I did try to do my best. Ultimately, it didn't work out, and we parted ways and they let me go. But here's what I learned from that experience. In the job interview itself, I should have been asking more clarifying questions, because I've now learned that some employers don't really have a true sense of everything that's required in a job that they're hiring for. And that if I want to make sure that I can manage my expectations correctly and their expectations, I've got to ask a lot more questions in their interview process to make sure I can reveal anything that I'm not hearing from them. That's why I've really grown and I'm excited to be interviewing with you, because I know I can ask those clarifying questions, because I want this to never happen to me again. I want to make sure that when I come to work for you, I fully understand the job so that I can exceed your expectations. See how that works? It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. Experience, learn, and grow. That moment of accountability, though, that place where you can pinpoint where you would have done it differently, that's the chef kiss to this answer. And just recruiters and hiring managers love that you can see that and, again, learn and grow from these experiences. It really just shows your character and your professional abilities. I hope that helped and it made sense. If you would like help with this, I have an entire course called Fired to Hired, and I built it for individuals just like you who really need to work through this. And let me tell you why. When you go through this course, when you're done, you will be itching to tell your story. You will want to be asked this question, right? Right now, you don't want to be asked this question because you're nervous. When you're done this course, you will want to be asked this question. What happens to my clients is they go into the interview, they get asked the question, they give their answer, and they get hired, because people move right past it, because you're giving a fair and balanced answer, but you've also internalized it so that it's true. They can tell that you really mean it, because it is true and you're saying it in your own voice. That is really, really important. And that's why I built the Fired to Hired course. So if you'd like instant access to that course and you want to try it free for 7 days, head over to Work It Daily. You know, we've got a 7-day free trial. You could get in there, you could start working on that. But most importantly, I'm really proud of you for understanding this isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to figure out how to explain it properly. And hopefully the framework I gave you today will do that, okay? Thank you again for sharing. Keep the questions and comments coming, folks. Good luck. Go get them.